If you're a beginner getting into barbecue, then this video is for you. We're going to go through choosing the right smoker, I'll share some tips, we'll go through some accessories and much more. So we're going to get started with choosing the right smoker for you. Everyone's going to be different, but if you're a beginner wanting to get into barbecue and you haven't picked yourself one up yet, I definitely recommend a Weber kettle. I say that because you've probably got a family member or friend you can borrow one off, or you can pick them up really cheap secondhand. The Weber kettles can do it all. You can smoke brisket, pork ribs, do pulled pork, chicken wings, and much more. And if you pick up a Weber cheap or borrow one off a friend or family member, only to figure out barbecue isn't for you, then at least you haven't wasted a heap of money on a fancy smoker in the process, only to figure out that you don't like barbecuing. Now, you definitely don't have to start with a Weber kettle, that's just my recommendation. Or if you've used one, you've mastered it and you're ready to upgrade, there's plenty of other options. Now, if you've got plenty of time and you like playing with fire, maybe an offset smoker is a good option for you. However, these are one of the hardest barbecues when it comes to fire management, but when it comes to flavor, you can't beat an offset smoker because they use real wood splits. So keep that in mind, because if you do end up going for an offset smoker, you're going to have to manage that fire the whole time you're using it. You're going to be feeding a log split on every half an hour to 45 minutes, and you want to be watching your temperatures quite often. Now, if you're time poor, you've got kids, or you don't want to worry about fire management, then maybe a pellet smoker is a good option for you. All you've got to do with pellet smokers is fill your hopper up, turn it on, select your temperature, and it's going to stay there all day. And generally, they have a ton of cooking space. And you can run them overnight with no issues. And honestly, the only downside to a pellet smoker is the flavor. You're just going to get much more of a subtle smoke flavor as opposed to something out of an offset, a drum, or a kamado. And that might not be such a bad thing if you or someone in your family doesn't really like a strong smoke flavor anyway. Then two of the other most popular barbecues, and ones I definitely recommend, are kamados and drums. Now, if you've seen my videos, you know I love my drum smokers. They are quite similar to kamados in terms of versatility and efficiency. You can set them up to smoke for 12 to 15 hours on 4 to 5 kilos of briquettes or lump charcoal. You can set them up to smoke, sear, roast, and much more. And in terms of flavor, they produce some really good barbecue. I always get asked if I could just keep one smoker, what would it be? And my answer is always a drum. Now, once you've got your barbecue, you're either going to want to get some log splits, some briquettes, or some lump charcoal. And my biggest tip with that is don't cheap out on it. Generally, most of your lump charcoal is going to be pretty good, but when it comes to log splits, make sure you're getting something that's suitable for smoking. With log splits, the last thing you want to do is pick up some that's under seasoned or it's been sitting out in the rain, because if you go ahead and use that, it's just going to let off heaps of dirty smoke, and you're really not going to be able to get a nice clean fire going, and you're definitely not going to be able to maintain one every time you put one of those log splits on. Now, with briquettes, I think they're the ones you got to watch the most. With the cheap or bad quality ones, they're going to struggle to light, they're going to struggle to get up to temperature, especially if you're doing something like the snake method in the Weber kettle, and some of the really bad ones are just going to leave a bad taste in whatever you're cooking. So definitely do some research, find what's good in your local area, and please don't cheap out when it comes to split wood, lump charcoal, or especially briquettes. Now, when you're ready to fire up your barbecue for the first time, I always recommend starting off with something cheap. That way, if you stuff it up or something goes wrong, you're not out of pocket and you're not going to be too down on yourself. I always suggest to start off with something like chicken wings or lamb ribs. Then when you're ready to tackle some real sort of low and slow style barbecue, try something like a pork scotch. Again, they're quite cheap. You can pick one up for a few kilos at around $30 to $40. You might even be able to get it cheaper on special, but it's definitely going to be cheaper than outlaying a couple of $100s for something like a brisket. So definitely work your way up to something like a brisket, do some research along the way, and when it does come to smoking something like a brisket, try not to cheap out on that either. So try pick up a piece that's around 3 to 4 kilos minimum. Look for some nice marbling in it or intramuscular fat, and also look for one that's a nice even shape, which will really help to cook nice and even. Then outside of your normal cooking utensils, there's a few accessories I absolutely recommend. The first being a charcoal chimney. Now, with a charcoal chimney, you can fill these with your briquettes or lump charcoal, put some fire lighters underneath, get them going, and then 15 to 20 minutes later, you've got some nice red hot ashed over briquettes or lump charcoal ready to go. You can do all of that on the base of your charcoal grate, and then once they're going, you've got the portability to dump them wherever you want. And then fire lighters, I just like to use these wood wool ones. These are all natural, clean burning, and you can pick these up pretty much from any supermarket or Bunnings. And then probably the accessory I use and recommend the most, a thermometer. Personally, I use this instant read thermometer the most. Really good for checking internal temperatures, checking the doneness of a steak, and checking probe tenderness on things like pulled pork, beef ribs, and brisket. But if you're a beginner, I strongly recommend getting a Bluetooth or wide probe as well. Then you can see the internal and ambient temperature from the app on your phone. And then the most important tools and ones you want to protect the most are your hands. So I always recommend getting hold of some cheap gardening gloves. These are just some I picked up from Bunnings. Then you can put your food safe glove over the top, and that way when you're moving meat around in your barbecue or pulling something apart, you're not going to burn your hands. And for the odd occasion that you need to move something around that's extremely hot, I always recommend having a pair of high heat gloves as well. Now, no matter what sort of meat you're cooking, I recommend doing some research on internal temperatures, but when it comes to things like pulled meats or brisket, use your internal temperatures as a guide and focus on probe tenderness. For example, I've had some briskets not probing right until 99 degrees Celsius, and then on the other hand, I've had some ready at 93 degrees Celsius. Same thing with pork butts, I've had some ready at 96 degrees Celsius internal, whilst others have been ready more around the 100 degrees Celsius internal. Now, if you're trying to nail that perfect brisket, it might take a few attempts to get the feel for that right probe tenderness, because if you overdo it, it's going to fall apart, and if you underdo it, it's going to potentially be chewy. But when it does come to pulled meats and brisket, I definitely prefer eating something that's a little bit over than a little bit under. And while we're talking about briskets, a question I always get asked is, what's the best brisket smoking method? And my response to that is try a few different methods and find what works for you. Because you can leave a brisket unwrapped the whole cook, you can wrap it in butcher's paper, in foil partway through the cook, you can boat it, there's even quite a few more methods. And honestly, my preference has changed over the years, and if I went and asked 10 different people who smoke brisket, I'm probably going to get quite a few different answers. So not just with brisket, but all things in barbecue, find what works for you. It's going to come down to your personal preference. So try a few different things until you find what you like. And when it comes to keeping your barbecues clean, I like to try and prevent mine from getting too dirty in the first place. I definitely recommend using drip trays, as they're going to catch any drippings that would otherwise potentially make a mess in your barbecue. Or if you're doing something like chicken wings in the Weber kettle using the vortex method, lay some foil underneath and around your wings, and that way you're going to keep your Weber nice and clean. And once you've finished cooking, whilst your barbecue's still hot, get a good scrubbing brush. I like to just use a steel wool brush. Give your cooking grate a good scrub, and that way any build-up on there is going to come off much easier whilst your barbecue is still hot. Then as a butcher and regular barbecuer, I can't recommend enough, get a good set of knives. Even if it's just a trimming and boning knife and something to slice things like brisket or beef ribs, that's going to be more than enough. Then by having a good quality knife and using the right knife for the right job, you're going to be able to get your trimming, preparing and slicing done much easier and safer. Now, when it comes to smoking wood, again, it comes down to personal preference. Personally, I prefer something like cherry. It's a really good all-rounder and it's probably the one I use the most. There's lots of other good smoking woods like peach, plum, apple, nectarine, apricot, bourbon barrel oak, ironbark, pecan, and so much more. So what I recommend is playing around with a few different flavors and finding what works for you. Now, there's plenty of other tips, tricks, and accessories I could talk about, but I've covered off the ones I think are most important for a beginner. But if you think I've missed anything, or if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, or leave a comment. YouTube loves it all. But for now, that's the end of the video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.